David, thank you so much for the time today.
Sure.
Let's start off talking about the tax cuts. John Boehner in Cleveland last month and again today, he called for extending the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy and for the middle class. We know the president wants a permanent extension for the middle class, but would he veto something that came to his desk with a temporary extension for the wealthy?
His view is that we must extend the tax cuts for the middle class. Middle class have suffered dramatically over the last, not just through this recession, but the last 10 years. We've seen wages flatline, expenses grow, and he believes that we can't have a thriving economy without a thriving middle class. So he's going to fight for those. On the other hand, we do have budgetary pressures, and what Mr. Boehner is suggesting is that we borrow additional money to give tax cuts to the highest income people in this country.
But it doesn't sound like you're drawing a line in the sand when it comes to a temporary extension.
No, no. Our position is clear. We believe that we should get a clean bill that extends the middle class tax cuts, and that's it.
So if it were to extend tax cuts temporarily for the wealthy?
Well, we want a clean bill that extends tax cuts for the middle class, and I don't think the president is going to support anything that doesn't do that. If we have if Mr. Boehner believes we should borrow another $700 billion or $70 billion, depending on whether you do it in 2 years or 10 years, then let's invest in tax cuts that are actually going to get the economy moving again. Every economist agrees. Goldman Sachs did a study that said high-income tax cuts are poor stimulus. Why? Because people at the higher incomes have money to plow into the economy, have money to spend. So what we want are tax cuts like the ones the president is talking about today to spur investment, to spur innovation. What we want are the small business tax cuts that the Republicans in the Senate are holding up right now. Let's talk about tax cuts that are going to get our economy moving again.
But you referenced Goldman Sachs. I mean, chief U.S. economist there yesterday said that the measures the president is proposing today aren't likely to generate significant growth because of uncertainty. It's unlikely that Congress is going to take these up. We've heard them before. You know, when you look at that $50 billion infrastructure proposal, the stimulus already allocated $38 billion. Only half of that has been spent. So was that enough then? Why are you waiting? And why didn't you do that a year and a half ago?
All of that money has been obligated. Much of it has been spent, but the program was designed to spend out over time for the very reason that we see, which is we understood that we were going to need that economic impetus for some time to come, and also to responsibly do infrastructure. You have to do it with some forethought. But the uncertainty that you mentioned is political uncertainty as to whether the Republicans in Congress will allow us to move forward on tax cuts for business. I think the pressure will build on them to do that. Understand that the tax cuts we're proposing were tax cuts the Republican Party has traditionally embraced: bonus depreciation, a permanent tax cut for research and experimentation. These are and even the surface transportation program is one that has traditionally been supported by both parties. There's only one reason why they don't want to move forward with it now, and that's politics, and that we ought to get past that and do what's right for the country.